Welcome everyone from all of us at MentorCart. This is our ongoing series on Talent Talks, and today we have with us Saurabh Shah. Saurabh is with Crafton. He leads the people operations team, is a director, comes with 17 years plus of experience, and is an engineering graduate, HR postgraduate, and varied experience across continents and companies. Welcome, Saurabh. It's an absolute privilege to have you with us today.
Thank you, Anuradha. Indeed, it's a privilege and an honor for me as well to be on Talent Talks. Thank you for the welcome.
Perfect. I have a long list of questions, and I'm sure we'll keep getting some from our audience as well. I hope you're ready.
Absolutely.
Before we get into an interesting topic on gaming and technology and skills, I'm going to invite you to talk about your career so far, Saurabh. We have some young, aspirational, talented folks in the audience. I'm sure they're curious to know what led you all the way to Crafton.
Sure. Would love to give a quick run through in terms of my professional journey. Started with Tata Technologies in 2007, where I spent a good 5 years. I joined them as a management trainee and rose to a level of head of HR for the North American territory, wherein I was responsible to run the people function across US, Mexico, and Canada. So fruitful 5 years gave me a lot of exposure to the people aspects, working in the engineering and the IT space in India as well as the North American market. Gave a solid foundation, the Tata Foundation, for any young aspirant to start the people journey, and that's where I got exposure to leading globally the people function and understanding the nitty-gritties of what is it to be a people-centric organization. Moved on to join Foton Motors as their manager for talent acquisition, where it was a startup, a greenfield startup in India, focusing on manufacturing commercial vehicles. I was one of the early talent to join the team and help the organization to scale talent, bring in senior leaders into the organization, as well as bring the entire team together and build that organization along with the people leader and the rest of the team. Work with them for a couple of years, and then got a breakthrough with Capita, where I spent the maximum amount of time in my career of 8.5 years. So again, started the journey, managing learning and development, people policies, processes. And over 8.5 years, got opportunities to work in different roles. When I left Capita, I was the global head of HR, managing the technology space across India, UK, Ireland, Poland, all these geographies. And probably Capita gave me a space to expand and explore more in terms of my people journey. And then I moved on to join Indian startup Haber. I joined them as their VP for human capital. And again, a fantastic experience where I got to understand the nitty-gritties involved in a startup space, how these organizations function, how the founders drive innovation and creativity across the board, and then how scalability happens from a people standpoint. So spend time with Haber, and then finally landed, I would say, into one of the dream roles at Crafton, which is one of the leading gaming companies not only in India but across the globe. And at my role at Crafton, I'm responsible for the enabling functions, that is HR, general affairs and admin, IT, as well as corporate affairs, which includes corporate secretariat. So that's been my journey in a nutshell. And I would just want to put that on record that probably this journey has been fantastic. not only because of the efforts taken by me, but more because of my colleagues, my team members, my mentors, and as well as my bosses who made sure that they gave me opportunities at the right time to really explore, to really expand, and to kind of accelerate my own journey along with the journey of the organization. So would like to really put that on record and acknowledge efforts by each of them to really help me be where I am today.
Perfect. That's nearly 2 decades summed up, I guess, in less than 3 minutes. Thank you, Saurabh. Right, and I can tell you that the, like I mentioned, the young aspirants that we have, people who starting, colleagues and young folks who starting their career journey, possibly have a lot to look up to. So with that, tell us about Crafton. Right, we've heard or we've seen some articles come in the media. It's possibly a new industry, specifically in Indian context, if you like. We all have our biases about online gaming. So take us through some of that. I'm really curious.
Sure. I mean, it's a fantastic industry to be in, Anuradha, and more about Crafton. While it's been a little close to a year that I've been with Crafton, but it actually feels like I've spent a few years with the organization with so much exciting things happening. Crafton, we are headquartered in Seoul, South Korea, and we've been in existence for a little over 2 decades already. In India, we basically have 3 focus areas, if you ask me. One of the focus areas, of course, gaming, where we are a leading gaming major in India in the space where we operate. So that's one focus area. The second focus area for us is our investments, which we have done in the Indian ecosystem, which are to the tune of $160+ million over the last few years. And the third focus area for us is the entire incubation program, which is the Crafton India Gaming Incubator, wherein we're looking to nurture early talent, nurture early startups into game development, or rather, I would say the entire ecosystem of gaming. So speaking about us in India, we are on an aggressive growth track where we have accelerated our growth in terms of the number of people working with us. In the last 6 months, we've had more than 20 people who have joined the Crafton India team. And thanks to the growth plans which we have in India, wherein we are focusing at least bringing in 3 to 4 new games in the country. We obviously have a flagship game that is BGMI, but we also have other games under our belt. Bullet Echo was one more which was launched early this year, which is now again showing very, very good signs of success. So, the focus is going to be that we try and bring in 3 to 4 games in the country and offer that to the Indian, fan base and enhance our footprint in that area. The second, as I said, right, the investments. So we've done pretty significant investments in 10 plus startups in the last 2 to 3 years time, and we plan to further accelerate our investments. And while it will be focused on gaming, but we might also look at other allied areas, which could be technology or others, which will probably accelerate the entire ecosystem. So that's going to be another focus area, and that's where again growth is going to come in. And the third one, which I just touched upon, was the incubation program. So last year we launched our incubation program, the Crafton India Gaming Incubator. While we launched it last year, end of last year, in the early this year, we also saw success coming through, wherein we've already incubated a couple of teams with us, and we are already looking for more teams to be incubated and look at how do we support the entire ecosystem of gaming, right from the concept to kind of bringing the game to life and offering it to the fans in India. That's the entire ecosystem where we're going to provide support to these incubated teams. So that's really like a fascinating growth story which we have in India at this point of time. And for the gaming industry, India is going to be at the focal point of attention for the next few years. And there's going to be explosive growth from my standpoint. I mean, that's my view, but that's where I'm looking at the talent getting created, the opportunities being made available, and really the entire ecosystem being benefited by organizations like Crafton and others.
Super. Yeah, I while all of that is interesting, and I'm sure the challenge, just as it is for other organizations, is about bringing that talent in, and especially for some, for an organization which is absolutely in a new industry, and again, while India doesn't have any dearth of talent, how are you? Who are you looking for? Are you finding them? Where are you finding them? And you spoke about the incubation center. Is that your approach? So finding talent, finding the right talent, and then having them stick around for a meaningful period, so that the organization also reaches or meets its goals. How are you bringing that together? Because in traditional industries, and the even IT and stuff that we've been now grown up with, it's still hard. Even though they are established industries and parents are okay to send their kids into such places, gaming itself is something that I think some of us as parents have a little bit of bias against, right? So how are you bringing that together? Where are you finding them? What's Crafton doing about it?
Sure. I mean, I would love to answer this question in two parts. One is our lateral talent, which I spoke about, and then we've been extremely successful in bringing in amazing talent in the last 6 to 8 months. In addition to obviously the fantastic team which is already in place. And the second part would be our Crafton India Early Talent Program. Wherein we've been able to hire fresh graduates from premier engineering schools, and they are poised to join us in the early part of July. So from a lateral hiring standpoint, I mean, let me kind of go back on that particular aspect. One of the strong reason for being able to hire good talent is the brand presence. Crafton as a brand in the gaming fraternity or in the gaming space is significantly poised at a very high level, or probably poised as one of the employer of choice. And we've been able to attract very good talent. One, because of the brand. Second is because of the roles which we have, which were to be offered. And third is the entire growth story we have at Crafton. I think these three have contributed significantly to kind of attracting the right talent. At the same time, our people-centric approach in terms of our policies, processes, that's been another edge for us when it comes to hiring talent from competition as well. So it's like if you speak to people who have been in gaming and you tell them that there's an opportunity in Crafton, there will be tons of people who will be extremely keen to apply for roles and get through an organization of their dream choice. So it's been an interesting journey. It's been a very, very learning journey, I would say, because through this entire process of hiring the talent this year, we've understood what really Crafton means to a larger larger force than just a smaller portion, right? So we've been able to kind of attract good talent because of all of these aspects. The second is we launched our Crafton India Early Talent Program with a pure focus of creating visibility, creating more information about the gaming industry per se, and go and offer those kind of opportunities to students who are starting in prestigious engineering colleges. And we went with the kind of roles we have in India, extremely successful, I would say. For the roles which we have hired, we had really good number of people responding to our positions, and we were able to successfully hire the talent. Again, the role, the approach in terms of the growth of which Crafton has, and the people policies, these again played a crucial role in attracting the top talent. And I'm really extremely excited to welcome these early talent into the organization, and really look at how do they scale up in that journey. Having said that, there was another part of the early talent program where we looked at hiring interns across the board in different functions. Where again, from my perspective, one was creating awareness about Crafton in the minds of these young talent, but at the same time also creating opportunities, because just creating awareness but no opportunities is kind of one sided from my perspective. So created awareness, created opportunities, and now we at least have a few interns who are working with us full time in our organization for the duration they have available with them. And again, they're going to explore a lot of avenues within this internship, and we plan to continue that journey where we create opportunities more for internships as well as full time roles. So, in a nutshell, it's been a fascinating journey to attract talent. We've been fortunate that we've got fantastic talent who has been working with us. We've been extremely grateful towards them for also bringing in a lot of their own friends, colleagues of the past into the organization, and of course to this early talent success, which we probably are hoping will help us build a talent pipeline going forward as well.
Yeah, I'm sure, that's the fact that some of these are new, that they may not be ready talent, right? So my next question is on those lines, right? So what are those kinds of roles, say, apart from, the company corporate roles that we all understand, but from a gaming industry in terms of technology, skills, what are those things that you really need in the organization, and for products and games that you're building, and if you're finding that in places, if you want, then what would you tell the institutes, the more professional ones, to do differently? Because like I said, everything is new. Our education system and policies take slightly longer than what the industry speed is. So what are you looking for, and then do we have that almost ready? If not, then what would you tell them to include in their curriculum?
Sure. It's a pretty intriguing question, I would say, Anuradha. And just to give a little more context, Crafton in India, we are a publisher, which basically means that the entire product design, marketing, business development, all of that sits within the India geography, whereas the development goes back to Korea, where we've got our dev, who help us in this entire journey. So the kind of roles which we have in India are related to publishing when it comes to games. So it could be the product space, the entire product management. It could be designers, whom we look at. It could be the Marcom specialist. It could be around the pure play marketing. It could be around communications. It could be around social media. It could be around various other aspects within marketing, where we've got roles available within the organization. Then we could have roles in the business development scenario, where we look at different collaborations with different brands in India. And I'll probably name a few collaborations at the later part to just give a perspective on that. So those are kind of roles which are available within the publishing space, and of course, game producers, QAs, some people are managing the entire operations of the game, analytics, etc. So these are typical kind of roles which are available with us at the moment. And then, of course, the second part of roles are in our investment space, where we're looking at colleagues who can come in and help us in the entire investment scenario, wherein we look at these corporate investments coming in. And then the third part of it is the enabling roles, where we look at talent to join our enabling organizations within Crafton. It could be HR, it could be admin, it could be finance, IT, and those areas. So those are kind of roles which are available. Speaking about the second bit of it, while lateral talent is available, and then, we've got a good number of people who have spent good number of years in the gaming industry, so that talent is available for us to hire. But when it comes to the early talent, I think that's where we would look at getting some support in terms of making talent readily available for the gaming industry, and that's where that edge support is required to kind of create awareness about the industry, to kind of create opportunities to partner with gaming organizations to get that flavor of how is it different. I mean, just as an example, right? How a standard IT product is different to a game product. What are those nitty-gritties? What are those considerations? Those kind of exposures are something which is very, very essential when it comes to the early talent role, because an exposure and understanding of the industry and understanding of what are the different kind of roles which are available within the industry, and what are those kind of relevant skills which are required, right? Those are three spectrums, I would say, when it comes to the early talent and their availability, which we got to look at. Touching upon your last point, yes, the need is to partner with educational institutes. It could be with partners like Mentocrat, who would create this talent not only for Crafton but for lot many other gaming organizations which exist or which will exist in the country, who will support both dev as well as publishing as a space in the gaming fraternity. And I think there is a delta at the moment in terms of talent available. I would say the right talent available, which is easily deployable in the organization, and which is easily available to kind of have a smaller learning curve, move quickly, understand, and get into the mainstream. I think that's where support is required. I would in fact, I have a little different perspective to what you said, that it takes a little longer time, for our universities and colleges to catch up. I think with the new initiatives, or the new education policy of the government of India on skill development or focus on Viksit Bharat, I think a lot of universities, campuses, colleges are being very agile and open to looking at what industries actually need, and they're changing at a very fast pace. And I'm really delighted that we know quite a few such places who have been very aggressive at looking at what the industry actually needs, and they're looking at organizations like Crafton to come in and partner and see how we could kind of support them in this entire skill development journey. So probably that's what I had to talk about on this particular aspect of yours.
That's interesting. No, and while we know that there is a lot of effort in skill development, for sure, is a area that we know people and government and the universities are putting a lot of effort, because deployable academics is one, but job ready skills are definitely slightly different, right? And we talk about talent, readiness, availability, and we talk of all of that in the same breath. Now, I'm very curious to say, how many girls, how many women get into this industry, gaming as such, right? So, how are you? Do you have that parity in Crafton? And I'm sure it's not a default. I'm sure there is a lot of effort that goes in there. So talk about that. I'm really curious if our girls are playing enough games, and if they are really interested and getting into the zone.
Well, it's a very, very interesting aspect. And, at Crafton, it's been very natural for us to attract, both the genders to work with us. We've got a very, very fair balance in terms of, our female colleagues who have been part of Crafton for a very long time, and even the new ones who have been joining. So I would say that from a Crafton standpoint, it's been a very natural process, rather than having a focus approach in terms of what should we be doing. That's one aspect. Second is, gameplay itself is been seeing a lot of, women fans or a lot of female fans getting into that space. And, if you remember, we saw our honorable Prime Minister, meeting a lot of influencers and game players, and it had a very, very fairly good balance of both the genders. So I would say that, it's naturally happening in a lot of, areas. And, the opportunities are being created for everyone. And, the awareness is something which needs to be accelerated. And I would say that, everybody will join the bandwagon, and would want to be part of a fascinating growth industry, which is already established to a very, very large extent in the Indian context.
All right, that's good to hear. I'm sure like I said, right, as parents, sometimes we do have a bias about online gaming. We kind of refrain our children from getting in there for obvious reasons. But given that it's an industry, and I, having spoken with some other colleagues in similar space, I'm also aware about the ethical aspects of designing games, or keeping a particular age group sensitive to that, and so on and so forth. Do you want to spend some time on that in terms of what's Crafton's approach to keeping it balanced and keeping it ethical, and so on and so forth, right? Just that realm.
No, I think Crafton as an organization, ethics play the most crucial role for us. At the topmost level to the last person within the organization, and it's one of our core belief and one of our core ways of working. And there's zero tolerance to anything which is not within the ethical framework, not within the principles. And from my standpoint, right, I mean, ethics for me is something to be practiced when no one is watching. And that's how that approach should be, because they have to be part of your DNA, they have to be part of your natural working. And you should not be running sessions of how should you be ethical, because that is given. And I would say Crafton, I'm fortunate to be leading the people operations for an organization who believes that ethical approach should be natural, and it is not something which has to be taught, trained, or reinforced, because that's the way of working. So I would say that it's been a fortune to work with such an organization who keeps ethics principles at the topmost, and kind of has zero tolerance to anything beyond that.
Perfect. Yeah, that's I think in cutthroat industries, new age, it's sometimes hard to really keep some of those foundational things intact. And I'm hoping and assuming, as the organization, so will the products be mindful in terms of the users, and then what they how they engage with some of this, right? I think it's very, very important for these industries to flourish, for these for our companies to really sustain for long term, and then have a growing fan base, right? I think it's really, really important. Super. So that's interesting, right? And I'm going to keep reminding you that we have our audience, which is again, early careers, new. We may have colleagues as experienced as us as well, but the interest, the fact that we have MentorCart as a place, as a space for building skills, talent, offering that to already job ready talent to the organization, customized to their requirements, if that's how the partnership is, or generally bringing the most sought after skills and then offering that to our young colleagues, right? In that, so that's who the audience is, and they're starting, right? Some of them would start from a place like Crafton and then build their career. If you were to tell your 25-year-old self after 20 years, what would you tell them in terms of building a career, a long-term sustained career? We speak of well-being, we speak of burnout. How does that go on for a person? or how do people as early as 25 years old go on to do and make a dent in the world, right? What would you tell them from your
Well,
own personal learnings of these 2 decades? Yeah.
sure. So, one of the most important aspect which has helped me, these are five characteristics of being a student, it's a Sanskrit space where for me a student it should be a vidyarthi, basically somebody who should continue aspiring to gain knowledge, keep looking at opportunities where he or she is able to gain that knowledge and wisdom. So it's important to be a lifelong learner, be a vidyarthi for life. And then I've got five characteristics which I have followed very, very rigorously for all these years. The first one is kakacheshta, which basically means the perseverance of a crow. That is, one of the most important aspect for me. And this is the story which our parents, our grandparents would have taught us about the crow who was looking to drink water, which was at the bottom of the vessel, and how did the perseverance drive him to quench his thirst and not remain thirsty and die. So the first one is kakacheshta, which is the perseverance of a crow. The second one is bako dhyanam, which is basically the focus of a crane. The crane stands on one feet in water, but the focus is to catch that fish, which is exactly for which will help him not stay hungry. So I think that is what we need to look at is bako dhyanam, the focus of a crane, and that is something which we need to continuously look at. How do we focus at what's in hand? How do we focus in terms of learning? How do we focus on not being carried away on something which we are not required to be worried about? So that's the second aspect. The third one for me is alpa ahari. So basically, how determined are you to have a nutritional uh, routine for yourself? Do you focus on having a very, very structured, disciplined approach when it comes to your own well-being? Do you look at practicing your well-being by your own self? So I think that's the third aspect of it, which is talking about being alpa ahari. The fourth one, from my standpoint, is grahatyagi. So basically, grahatyagi, the relevance is: are you ready to move out of your comfort zone? And that is what is going to create a significant difference. Are you ready to get into an industry which is not very well aware but gives a lot of opportunities, or is offering a lot of growth? Are you ready to get out of your comfort zone? It could be as simple as, I'm not really good in communication, I'm not able to communicate with my friends, my colleagues. Are you ready to get out of that comfort zone and make that focus effort to make sure that you are able to uh, grow in that particular aspect? So I think that is the fourth aspect where I speak about how are you able to get out of the comfort zone. And another analogy here, right? A lot of us have this particular thing of worrying. We continue to worry about situation, about the challenges which are posed to us. But I have a very, very simple analogy from one of my mentors. I really look upon this individual, that is Gaur Gopal Das, where he speaks about worry as one of the major stress creators, where he says that if you have a problem in hand, and if you have a solution, then there's no need to worry. But at the same time, if you have a problem and if you don't have a solution, then again, worrying about the problem or the solution is not going to be helpful for any growth or any change in terms of the challenging situation. So I think that's something which is again one of the important aspects of looking at why worry. The last but not the least is Shwana Nidra. which basically speaks about alertness of a dog. So, are you really alert about what's happening around? I think from each of these five, I would want the students to take away the key elements, and look at how can they imbibe into that, into their own story. So I'll just repeat it for everybody. It is, the first one is Kaka Cheshta, second one is Bako Dhyanam, the third one is Alp Ahari, fourth one is Graha Tyagi, and the fifth one is Shwana Nidra. And it's important to look at it from a Vidyarthi standpoint, so that you continue to be a lifelong learner. You continue to focus on the good, because it's very, very easy to get carried away with negativity around. But if you are able to focus on what is positive, what is good, and amplify that, I think we are doing more good to us than anybody else. And the third aspect of it is, it is okay to fail. I think that is one thing which, as students, we got to imbibe, that it is okay to fail. There is no problem in failure, but there is definitely a problem in failing on the same thing. uh, if you fail, you should fail fast. You should learn out of that failure and make sure you do not fail on the same aspect another time. I think that is, again, something which is very, very important. And if I was a 25-year-old 20 years back, probably this is what I would want to focus on. Uh, the last thing which keeps coming to my mind, and kind of makes me jealous of this generation, is the number of opportunities these people are have in hand. And if I had one wish, I want to go back 25 years and restart my career, and then really learn, grow, and explore those opportunities which probably at our times look like only a dream, but now are a reality, and very easily available.
Perfect. Now that's quite loaded, and I'm sure those around the age of 25 who are in the audience, or some of us as continuous students of life, would value this sort of. What I must also then tell you is that this, and this is for everyone. I think some of these valuable lessons. It comes from 20 years of experience. It comes from 25 years of experience, and everyone can personalize this as it goes. Even from this conversation for the last 40 odd minutes, I hope there's one thing and one of these behaviors and attitudes that our young listeners would value, take along. It's These are uncertain times, right? And like you said, if we had it different, and if we were to go back, there were different choices that we would make. But as the career progresses, a lot of things do make sense in the hindsight. I think all's well that ends well when you land at a particular place, but it's all hard work. Opportunities are plenty, but equal amount of distractions, lack of discipline. I think the commitment that you spoke of, the perseverance that you spoke of, the alertness that you spoke of, are easier said than done. And I'm praying and I'm hoping our young colleagues will learn from this. It's not easy, but it's not impossible either. Right. And on that note, Saurabh, I'm going to settle this, call it a close. Once again, thank you for being with us on this on this show. It's Mentorcart, Talent Talks, and we look forward to hosting you again.
Thank you, Anuradha. It was indeed a pleasure speaking to you. And we touched upon some of the basic elements which probably our parents, our grandparents have always been teaching us. And, I would just conclude by saying that, we got to be passionate for anything and everything, we have in front of us, because passion will drive us to go beyond our own capability. And again, that is a very, very subjective term, but passion will drive you to go beyond your capability. It will help you to keep learning. It will help you to grow, and I think ultimately help you to also give back to the society, because I think that should be our ultimate aim, that how are we able to create an impact in the ecosystem. And I'm thankful again for to Crafton and all my previous organizations, my mentors, my friends, my teachers, and as well as my family members for creating that support system for me to keep contributing back. Thank you, Anuradha, and thank you to Mentocrat for bringing me on this show. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks, Saurabh. Pleasure was all ours.